continuing the 6 qualities that Edmund Spenser wrote about in The Faerie Queene. We were just finishing up friendship in the last video. The 5th one was, what did I say the 5th one was, Dalen? Justice? Justice, right. I'm going to put these so I don't have to walk all the way back over there. I'm going to write these. Shoot. This is why I have to carry this around with me. Okay, justice, and I've already forgotten the 6th one. So I'm going to write this, and then I'm going to put the 6th one down here and write it before I forget it again and have to walk all the way back over here. Okay, courtesy. All right, so let's talk about justice. What actually is justice? Justice is a quality that we all pray that the Lord won't have with us, right? Justice means that we really get what we deserve. You want that from God? You're a sinner. Every one of us are sinners. Do you really want God to treat us with justice? Or do you want him to treat us with mercy? Okay? Justice is a quality where people are judged based on their actions. Not their heart, but on their actions. And where they get what they deserve based on their actions. So justice does have a bit of a hard tone to it, but we have the justice system, which means laws and rules that we're not allowed to break. The purpose of justice is to keep a society functioning correctly. When lawlessness breaks out and justice breaks down, a society fails. I'll give you an example. The Roman culture. The Roman culture died out when justice no longer existed. When the Roman emperors began, oh shoot, I erased it. When we were talking about Henry VIII and the king, the right of the king, that's very much like the Caesars in Rome. Do you remember that? They considered themselves to be gods. They could do whatever they pleased. And it was when they reached that point with Julius Caesar. We talked about this way back when we were talking about Rome. Julius Caesar was the first one who said, I am a god. And then all of the Caesars following him believed that they also were gods. Justice began to fail at that point because justice was being metered out by one person based on what they thought. A justice system can't survive that way. So when we're talking about justice, we're talking about objective rights and wrongs. Now, let's talk about what objective means. There is objective and there is subjective. Subjective comes from our own personal feelings. So it's our choice. So I may subjectively say, my children are the best kids on the face of the earth. That's a subjective opinion. It's my opinion. I could make that statement, but whether or not everybody else believes that is the big question because it's a subjective opinion. It's mine. An object opinion is when gray clouds roll over us, we're probably going to get rain. That's objective. That's based on reality or fact, not opinion. So, justice being objective means it's not based on one person's opinion like the Caesars. It is based on objectivity. What everybody agrees is right and wrong. The absence of objectivity is one of the reasons that we have difficulty right now with abortion laws, okay? Why we have laws allowing abortions. It's not an objective law. The society is very split. Some people think that it's the right of a woman to get rid of anything that's a part of her body, and some people say, what are you talking about? That's a life. That is a life, and you don't have a right to kill another life. So there's subjectiveness with regard to that issue, which is why we have two very distinct sides of the abortion question. Okay, do you understand objectivity? So justice would be objective rights and wrongs. So let me give you an example. Most people would agree that murder is objectively wrong. Now, there are cases where it becomes a little more subjective. Those are the cases that have to be tried and settled in a court of justice. Because, an example, a woman's being abused by her husband, and one night she's afraid he's going to kill her. She's backed into a corner, and so she lashes out and actually kills him. So, is that really murder, or is it self-protection? So that's where things get a little fuzzier and become subjective as opposed to objectivity. But there are objective rights and wrongs. For instance, in the United States, if you're driving down the left side of the street, that is an objective wrong, okay? So there are some laws and some rules that everybody agrees we have to have so the society can function. And one of them is that you don't drive down the wrong side of the street. Okay, let's move on from justice. The sixth quality that Edmund Spenser is talking about in The Faerie Queene is courtesy. What does courtesy mean? Courtesy is very closely aligned to gentlemanly behavior. But courtesy is something that also can be practiced by women. Courtesy. I'm standing in the grocery line. I have a cart completely full. I'm waiting for the person in front of me to finish checking out, and somebody walks up behind me and they have 2 items. And I say, please go in front of me. I don't want you to have to wait. It's going to take me 15 minutes to check out. You go ahead. That's courtesy. That's being courteous to each other, okay? Speaking to each other. Very often when I'm walking into a place, there will be a man and he'll hold the door open for me. He's being courteous. What is the courteous response? I turn and I smile and I say, thank you. I make eye contact with him. I show appreciation. That's part of courtesy also. Giving and showing appreciation for others. Giving and receiving, but also showing appreciation for others. Okay? Would be courtesy. You're driving down a very busy street. You're in a lane of people, and it's bumper to bumper. Somebody's in the next lane over, and they're trying to merge into your lane. They've got their turn signal on, and they're looking at the traffic. You stop and wave them. Come on in. Come on. You can come on into my lane, and you let them pull over in front of you. That's courtesy. Okay? That's a very simple example, and obviously courtesy embraces far more than just those things. But we're all called to lead a life of courtesy, aren't we? We should be. That's part of our calling as Christians. And certainly, it is the calling of any gentleman or person of noble birth. So let's talk about that for 1 second. Are we of noble birth? Are you of noble birth? You are a son or a daughter of the King of the universe. You are of noble birth. Every single one of us are. Because we belong to Jesus. We belong to the Lord. Our Father is the King of heaven and of earth. So, yes, you are nobility. Should you not be acting on these virtues? Should these not be virtues that you're living out in your own lives? Yes, absolutely they should. All right, let's continue here. These are the 6 qualities that Edmund Spenser is talking about in The Faerie Queene. A fragment of another book, The Cantos of Mutability, also survives. Book 1 of The Faerie Queene is in a way an epitome of the whole poem, or the part of it that Spenser completed, the 6 sections. It is almost entirely self-contained, and it has been called a miniature epic in itself. So book 1 can exist absolutely by itself as an epic. It consists of 12 cantos, just as Virgil's Aeneid consisted of 12 books. You see the similarities here, the comparisons? Okay. The introductory lines are intended to remind the reader of Virgil, who began with pastoral poetry and moved on to the epic, just as Spenser is doing. Okay. The good people are subject to the Faerie Queene and are called fairies or elves. They are human beings, though not very individualized. That's enough of that. All right, I am going to read you a little bit of the first book of the Fairy Queen, The Legend of the Knight of the Red Cross, or of Holiness. I'm going to read you a little bit of this, but I am also going to include in your packet several pages of this that I want you to read on your own. You may not understand it, but there will be words that you understand, and what I'm looking for you to do is just get a general overview of what Spenser is saying in these cantos. So make an attempt at reading it. Read it first one time. The language is going to be baffling to you, and I understand that. Read it through the first time, get a feel for the rhythm, then go back and read it through a second time, please. And the second time, I want you to pay particular attention to try to understand what it is he's talking about. Okay, let's check our timing here. We've got 9 minutes left. All right, class. Lo, I the man whose muse whilome did mask. Muse, what is a muse? A muse is something that gives you ideas, okay? People say, I've lost my muse. Writers that can't write say, I've lost my muse. Okay, and it's also, aren't the muses also demigods from Greek and Roman anthology? Okay, as time her taught in lowly shepherd's weeds, and now enforced a far unfitter task, for trumpets stern to change mine oaten reeds. What might oaten reeds be, guys? Oaten reeds, probably a flute. Okay. And sing of knights and ladies' gentle deeds, whose praises have slept in silence long. Me, all too mean, the sacred muse reads, to blazon broad amongst her learned throng. Fierce wars and faithful loves shall moralize my song. Okay, that is just the first 9 lines, and I'm going to stop there, but I am going to take a picture of this, and I'm going to post it for you to read, and I expect you to read the pictures that I take, the text of the Fairy Queen that I send to you. I want you to read it through at least twice and begin to try and get an understanding. It is beautiful language. The words are a little different. They're spelled very, very differently from the way we spell them, but it is Middle English, and you have to understand Middle English is extremely different. I do think that there's a YouTube video. I'll try and find it. If I can locate it, I'll put it on GradeLink for you. But I think I can probably find somebody reading the Fairy Queen in Middle English, and you'll have an opportunity to listen to how it actually sounds. So I hope you're doing well. We're going to move on. This pretty much concludes our discussion of Edmund Spenser and the Renaissance in England. And in our next set of lectures, we'll be moving forward, and you need to be studying for your test on Tudor England. All right, students, stay safe. Love you guys. Bye.